Hello everyone, my name is Lex Chase, and today I am reading to you from my new novel, Chasing Sunrise, Book 1 of the Darkmore Saga. It is a paranormal urban fantasy set amid the world of the vampiric Isa and the Wendigo shifters as they are locked in an epic power struggle to see who will come out on top. At its core, it is a story of domestic violence. Our main character, King Sevon of the Isa, is trapped in a lifelong abusive situation, and he is dying for escape. He is looking to find love on his own terms and find he is worthy of being loved. It is a story very near and dear to my heart as a domestic violence survivor, and I hope those that have never been in that situation can understand what it's like, and those that are in that situation can understand there's hope and there's light and you truly can escape. So today I am reading to you from Chapter 8, and there's some setup, and quite a bit of setup, so you will need to follow me on this. So, Sevon has the ability to part the veil. The veil is a immaterial membrane that separates our world from hundreds of others. The Isa are looking to immigrate into the shifter realm and live happily ever after, or Sevon thinks. So, the crew has gone to Priagust to investigate, check it out, see it was all happy, fun, and now they're going back. Among the expedition team is Jack, a shifter they have kind of borrowed, abducted, kidnapped. And he is acting as their guide. He too is under the impression everything is going to be happy, fun. So now they're leaving, and here we go. Jack watched Sevon as he carefully towed the lapping water of the shoreline. Sevon tested the coolness of the water and sharply drew back his foot when the tiny splash washed over his flesh. "Winter's coming," Jack said, and Sevon turned toward him with a curious expression. "We're getting the cooler currents from the underground source." Sevon nodded once. "Are we ready?" he asked. Janie checked herself over, patted her hip for a sword, and adjusted her backpack. She glanced at Kerrigan, who in turn watched Sevon. Jack pressed his lips together. Something about Kerrigan's expression troubled him. "I think I should stay behind," Kerrigan said. The declaration startled Jack. "Wait, what? But I thought you got what you needed." "For observation," he told Jack curtly, and then addressed everyone else. "Gather more information. Act as an ambassador to the shifters." Cheney's shoulders drooped. "How will you get back?" Kerrigan pointed at Sevon. "I assume you can come back for me. Obviously we're going to have more expeditions until we have a concrete decision. The way I see it, I should lay the groundwork for the following teams. Don't you think?" "Are you sure? Your Majesty seems to have trouble with working the energies of the veil, as he put it. There's no need to put him under undue strain," Jack said, gauging Sevon's discomfort. He arched a brow at the strange random noise of Sevon's soul in his inner ear. That must be the sound of uncertainty or fretfulness. "Change of heart, eh?" Kerrigan said with an arrogant grin. Jack flexed his fingers, itching to form a fist and punch Kerrigan's smug grin off his face. If the Isa of Darkmore and the shifters of Scion of War are going to form an alliance, this needs to be done with respect and dignity to all involved. Sevon glanced at Jack, and the noise of uncertainty went silent. "You really didn't need to say that," Sevon muttered, and it was Jack's turn to feel uncertain. "So it was kind of you to take this matter to heart." Jack nodded once. "This matters, and I will do what I can to help your people." Sevon turned his attention to Kerrigan. "Permission granted," he said, and jerked his chin, indicating the water. "Jack, Cheney, get in." Jack hesitated, and looked upon the land he loved. His gaze traveled over the rolling hills and down into the blooming valleys. His imagination stepped over the terracotta roof tiles of the homes built in the steep hillsides. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Sevon's thoughts drifted into Jack's as he stood beside him. The expression of kindness made Jack's skin flush. What was the proper thing to do? Sevon had made it clear Jack was his advocate and nothing more. If anyone found out what they had done, Jack feared less for his safety and more of what would be in store for Sevon. "I realize it's not going to be the same place for long. It will be different." Jack's thoughts rolled through Sevon's mind. "Perhaps better." "With luck it'll all go smoothly as you think it will." Sevon's thoughts tickled at his synapses. "A small price to pay for being the only living resident in the Darkmore dungeon." Jack gave a snort of fog from his mouth. "I can't make promises, but please, Jack, if you help us, maybe I can do something," Sevon begged through Jack's mind. Jack sighed, rolling his shoulders. He tried not to make it obvious he and Sevon were communicating. "Can't you do something? You're the king. You said so yourself." Nervously, Sevon cast his glance at the sand, Jack frowned, confused how pointing out Seven's designated title made him so nervous. Perhaps there was more to the story. Seven stepped away and slipped into the icy water. Jack knew that somehow, some way, he'd make Seven see the truth. Seven hadn't yet recognized Jack from their childhood together. They had changed so much as adults, and at the time Seven had been a toddler who had faced tragedy. Jack was certain Seven wouldn't remember him. Doxy was afraid of the water. Jack's soul chuckled as he tested Seven with the name of his most beloved toy. Seven stiffened and frowned with a tremble to the lip. Jack crossed his arms and hoped Seven's reaction was one of acknowledgement, but the pained expression was confusing. "Let's go," Seven said, and Jack averted his gaze. His reaction was not one Jack had expected. Jack didn't look back as he moved toward Seven, who left his robe on the shore and whose skin shone like moonstone. He paced backward along the soft silk bottom and planted his feet. Jack's mouth ran dry, and the keloid scar upon Seven's chest gleamed like a spike of amethyst. Chaney slowly waded in, her knee-high boots sloshing in the shallows. "I'm going to be thankful to get back to Bianca," she said. Seven stood waist-deep in the lake and held out his outstretched hands to Jack and Chaney. They sloshed toward him and took a hand. Seven nodded to each of them. Jack and Chaney exchanged cautious glances and then linked hands. Kerrigan waited on the shore, calling to Chaney, "Give Bianca my best. I'll pick out a nice plot of land for you soon." Chaney smirked. "Thanks. Something along the water." "Duly noted," Kerrigan said. Jack kept his gaze on Seven. "Are you sure you're up to this?" Seven squared his shoulders and closed his eyes. "Don't doubt me, Jack," Seven said. "Quiet, all of you. I need to feel the veil." Kerrigan eyed Chaney, shaking his head in some hidden message. Jack looked between the two of them and cast his gaze to the stars. He then turned his attention toward Seven. Jack searched his face for traces of goodness hidden within his soul. Jack knew they were there, and their moment in the temple confirmed it. He only felt the fear and uncertainty that poisoned Seven's mind. The water started to fizz and bubble against their waists. Chaney and Jack kept their attention locked on each other, both preparing for the worst. The water erupted into a sudden geyser swallowing the three of them. When the water cascaded away, Chaney was thankful to be standing once again in the Darkmore Conservatory pool. She didn't immediately comprehend the shattered glass on the floor, but Dominic rushed towards the poolside in a hysterical madness. "What's wrong with him?" Dominic roared in a panic. Jack huddled over the crumpled king and patted his cheek. Seven's eyes flexed into pinpricks and stared into nothingness as he shuddered. Jack lifted his wrist, summoning a claw on the tip of his finger to slit his flesh open. Dominic snarled and leaped in the pool. He kicked Jack away from Seven, and Jack somersaulted backward across the long pool among the lily pads. Dominic cradled the sparrow-frail king and carried him out of the pool. Chaney was immediately at Dominic's side. "He needs to feed," Jack bellowed and staggered to his feet. "If he feeds, he'll come around." Dominic snapped his attention to Jack. "And I'm certain your filthy shifter blood would have poisoned him." "It wouldn't," Jack growled and pushed from the pool. "Just let me help him and he'll be fine." Dominic hesitated and chuckled softly. "If you're expecting me to believe you have no ill intentions, you are horribly mistaken," he said, adjusting Seven in his grasp. Seven continued to shudder, and Jack frowned. "Your kind is all the same. Liars and mongrels, every last one." Jack took a step closer, and Dominic danced back. "Don't be so stupid, Shifter," Dominic warned him. "If you just listen," Jack pleaded. "I have no ill intention of hurting him." Chaney glanced between the two stubborn men, refusing to compromise. "Dominic, listen to him." "I'm not deaf, Chaney," Dominic growled and snapped at Jack. "The only listening I'm going to do is of your screams in the dungeon." He addressed Chaney. "Take him away." Chaney ignored him and spoke up. "My lord, listen. His Majesty needs to feed. Let us help him." She looked upon the twitching Seven, and her heart sank. He looked so much like Bianca as she had suffered before her awakening. "Please," Chaney said. Dominic jerked away from Chaney and held Seven like no more than a deer carcass in the jaws of a jaguar. "Do you think that I don't understand?" Dominic said in an accusatory tone that his voice cracked. "No," Chaney said, mindful of her place. "Do you think I'm simple?" Dominic snapped again. Chaney didn't respond, but Jack stepped in. "I do," he said. She bristled. "Jack, please," she said, warning him into silence. "I wasn't talking to you, beast," Dominic snapped, and his eyes narrowed in derangement. "It's because of you he's like this." Jack took a step forward, and a split second later Chaney slapped a hand on his shoulder. She shot him a knowing glance. "I will send for Lily immediately," Dominic said, with a toss of the head. "You, Chaney." Dominic said her name like he'd swallowed garbage. "Take this thing to the dungeon until I decide what to do with him. Jack spat at Dominic's feet. Now I see your intentions are clear. But you'll excuse me, my lord. I'm not going to give you the pleasure of begging for my life, because I'm comfortable with the knowledge I will soon have your black and withered heart in my teeth. Take him, Dominic roared. Chaney lifted her hand, and Jack batted it away. I can walk, Lady Chaney. Thank you. I think I know the way. Jack strutted past Dominic and through the vegetation of the conservatory. Chaney followed 2 steps behind him, and as they stepped through the shadows, Chaney took Jack's hand, squeezing it. She offered a word of advice. Survive. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed that reading, and I hope you enjoyed meeting Dominic, the royal almighty asshole. So, if you enjoyed the reading, please check out the book. The pre-sales actually are 100% of the royalties are going to the LA Gay and Lesbian Center Domestic Violence Service. So click the link down below, and thanks Lisa and everybody for having me. It's awesome. Bye!